Hey guys, it's me, Dr. Jennifer Otter Bickerdike, and on this edition of Inside the Music Industry, I have the absolute pleasure of talking to my dear friend Orono, who is the lead singer, lyricist, and artist of the band Superorganism. Now, you may know Superorganism. They toured all around the globe last year. This year, they're playing Coachella. They're doing a U.S. tour. They're doing all kinds of great things. And Orono I find absolutely captivating. She was born in Japan, but has lived in the U.S. and the U.K., and at the age of 18 is already fronting a successful band. So please check out this episode. Forgive any snaps or crackles you might hear. Our chat took place over Skype. It took us about 5 times on Skype to get it. So I have to tell you, though, the content is really, really interesting. Orono talks about preconceived ideas of her being Japanese, of her being female, and just the Japanese market. It's really, really interesting. So I hope you enjoy it. This is coming to you from London via Japan, because my guest today is none other than the lovely, talented, and disgustingly smart Orono from Superorganism.
Hello, it's me.
So, my dear, we were just talking about all the incredible things that you do. You're more than just a pretty face fronting a band. Tell us about all the different things that you're doing. You're doing art, you're writing lyrics, you're doing a podcast. Fill me in on what
Yeah, I'm just living the life, living the dream, doing what I love. I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm talking to you. That's what I'm doing. I'm loving it.
So it's easy just to be like, okay, you are this sassy chick fronting a band, but you're also writing lyrics.
Yep.
I know you said you're doing a mural in Japan. Like, where do all these different things come from? Have you always liked to are you painting or drawing, or what mediums are you doing?
I'm painting, but it's also a collage, I guess. I actually hated art class growing up, and I only really started enjoying it when I transferred to an American high school. I had an amazing teacher. Her name is Miss Burns, and she taught me lots of cool shit. Shout out. But fucking all the other art teachers that I had, except for one teacher in Japan, Miss Suzuki. Yeah, I hated art class. I thought it was really stupid and boring.
Did you want to bust out? Because it's funny, because when I was younger, like we're talking like 9, 10, I loved to draw, I loved to paint, and then it kind of got like crunched out of me. Like, were you the same, or how did you kind of get back into it if you didn't like doing the classes? Like, what inspired you to keep pushing forward?
Honest Burns just assigned me things. I am so lazy, and I don't like care about anything. Like, I don't even like art that much. Like, I do love it, and I do care about it, but I wouldn't do anything unless I'm told to, or there's like pressure to do something. So I need like that external pressure for me to do something, and I think it just has to be the right person, right time. And Miss Burns, for me, 14-year-old me, was like the perfect thing.
And that's really interesting, because you are, to me, like, you're so inspiring, because you are creating, collaborating, literally like using technology to do that with the music, especially. When did you first know that you wanted to be in a band and making music then?
I knew when I listened to Weezer when I was like 3 or 4 years old in my dad's car. And those feelings were after watching School of Rock for the first time and watching Rivers Cuomo rock out on stage on a DVD that my dad had got me. Or it was his, and I watched it all the time, about Weezer.
I can't remember. Your sister's younger than you, isn't she?
Yeah, she just turned 12.
So are you the older kid then? Are you the oldest in the family?
Yeah. Yep.
So you're like 4-year-old you is listening to this music of your parents and getting really excited about it. So what was the first thing? So you're watching the DVDs of Weezer, you're listening to the music in the car. What was the first thing that you did to start getting involved in music? Was it playing a kazoo? Was it like making deep lyrics? Like, what did you do?
I think I was just singing along to Weezer songs in the car, and also like Ben Queller and Ben Folds, like, 90s alternative stuff, I guess. yeah, I didn't know what any of the lyrics meant, but I just thought they were catchy and fun to sing to, so I think that was like my first output, I guess. But it wasn't like a conscious effort that I was making.
I love it. My first output. I love that. So what would you say? I know the answer to this, but the people that are not familiar with the superorganism story, what did you say was the big break that you got?
um, I think big break was Frank Ocean playing one of her songs on his radio show, and Ezra Koenig from Vampire Weekend. Yes.
Did you ever think so just can you just recap quickly, like I know, but can you just recap? So you basically had a SoundCloud account. You'd already met the
Yeah.
boys, that were to become Superorganism, because you'd gone as a fan to
Yeah.
their show. And then
Yeah.
did you send them tracks? I can't remember that part of the story. Did you send them tracks saying, "Hey, here's some music," and they kind of drafted you in? Was that the process of how the band came to be?
Honestly, no. Like I I'm not really like please look at my art. I'm desperate for attention. I mean, obviously I was like that to an extent when I was like 13. But I would just occasionally post some of my songs that I posted on SoundCloud to Facebook, if they were good enough for me at the time, and just be like, hey, I made a thing, check it out if you want, I guess. And I guess some of them checked it out, thought it was cool, and decided to hit me up and ask me if I wanted to collaborate.
So and this is all done remotely, because where were you living? Were you in the US at this point,
Yeah.
or you were in the
Yeah, I
US?
was in Maine.
So what
Yeah.
would you say are some challenges and then an advantage of working collaboratively? What are some pluses and some minuses?
Right now, I can only think of pluses, to be honest, because like when it's online, it's like purely about the thing that you're creating. And when you're in a physical space with someone, it like, adds other factors to the whole thing, like awkwardness and etc. So, yeah, I prefer working on stuff online in a lot of ways.
Do you ever feel like it's interesting, because you're what as old people call a digital native? Oh, do you ever worry, like, you'll put something up, you'll
Hmm.
make a change, you'll give feedback, and because you can't see the person's face, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, how you're like
Hmm.
wait, you're like waiting for a text message, and there's like that little like bubbles, like they're
Hmm.
thinking about it. Do you ever worry, like, oh my God,
Hmm.
I can't see what they're thinking? Do you worry about it, or is that just you? Are you just used to that, like that way of working together?
No, I'm like 100% used to it. And uh, when I was a young teenager, I made a lot of my friends online and was on the internet constantly. So, like, talking to someone online and making friends online is like very natural for me. So, in a lot of ways, again, I kind of prefer that to an extent. And also, like, I don't really like people in general. I can be very antisocial, so I prefer uh talking to people online where I can, think about what I'm gonna say and stuff like that, and not come off as such an asshole.
Do you? Oh, stop! I mean, have you ever had? I was asking you before, but the internet crashed out a little bit. Have you? I've had this happen to me, not so much
Mm-hmm.
now, but definitely when I was younger and single, where you talk to someone loads online, and then you meet up in real life, and you're like, "OMG, the way you chew your food is really annoying. I don't like you."
Hmm. Well, I no, honestly no. Like, because I've done it so much, and the spaces that I was in when I was younger, they were like really niche fandoms, like Vampire Weekend Twitter fandom.
Really, the food chewing didn't matter. It
Yeah.
was more about you guys sharing a common interest.
Yeah, it's like meeting up and stuff, it wasn't really a part of the equation. So even when I was working on stuff with my bandmates online, like all 8 of us being in the same room wasn't even like anything that we thought would happen, and then we ended up doing it in like what 7 months later or whatever. So it was weird and trippy. But I think it's good to keep expectations as low as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying it's been coming up a lot in conversations I'm having. Do you think there's any challenges because you're female?
I think it's more that I look like I'm 11 years old. I don't think it's anything to do with being a woman, personally. I don't notice it, um, because I don't care. Um, yeah. That's a really, like, boring answer, but like, I don't really pay attention to that kind of thing.
I mean, you and I have talked about it before about how people are like, "Oh, she's so cute." I mean, part of it is that you're Asian. Part of it is that you look quite young. They're like, "Oh, you're so cute." So it's like not really taking you seriously as an artist. I think that's more what I've gotten may irritate you, not so much that
Yeah,
female.
gotcha. Yeah, that is that is accurate. I mean, it's hard to say because I know that those things are what make me interesting and stand out. So I'm grateful for that, but it annoys me when people don't go beyond that and look at, well, not appreciate, but that, like, oh, I'm like a kawaii Japanese girl, like, that's cool, yeah, but like, look at the actual shit that we're making.
Do you feel like on that? Do you feel
Focus
pressure?
on that.
Yeah, no, I get that. Do you feel pressure to be a role model to other girls?
Sometimes. Well, I never do this to become that. So it's but it's hard because it's not like I don't tell like these kids or whatever to go fuck off and they tell me like anything that they look up to me and stuff, but it's weird because I don't like I don't want to be a good example because I'm not. And I don't my message, if I had one, is like don't fucking listen to anyone's advice and just like do whatever the fuck you want to do. So I don't want to like, tell anyone how they should live their lives. So, yeah.
Is it was it weird the first time someone came up to you and said that, like that you were they looked up to you, that you were someone they admired?
I'm it was weird, but like it's weird when they just say that. Like, I mean, I am an annoying person and I am a pain in the ass, but if someone's just like, "Oh, wow, you're so cool," and like, "Oh," or like, "You're so cute," or "You're a great singer," just like a very, very simple statement. I can't just be like, "Oh, cool. I appreciate it."
When people come up and say, "Oh, you're cute, you're a good singer," you get irritated because it's like they're not really looking beyond the obvious, and that's what kind of that is what
Well,
gets under your
it's not a
skin.
message I'm trying to promote. Not that I'm trying to promote a message. That sounds really dumb. But it's everything's so I don't like, social media is fake and all that. I don't like saying that at all, but it kind of encourages very surface level behavior and like, not looking beyond that kind of thing. And I hate feeling like I'm perpetuating that kind of thing online and stuff and through, all of we do. So I end up feeling slightly annoyed or like whatever whenever someone makes a very like blanket statement about me, even if it's a compliment because I'm an asshole, whatever, I don't care. But if I do get like a very emotional, like gritty, disgusting message, like a very long one from like a kid junior year, like having the worst time of their lives and like how our music like helped them and was like a source of comfort for them, and that that reminds me of the time when I was their age and I was going through like the worst year of my life, like listening to Elliott Smith and all that. And it blows my mind that I am now like that person. Like I'm the Elliott Smith that I was to myself when I was younger. Um, which is the kind of thing that I want to do and want to accomplish through the shit that I did. So it feels more normal and comfortable whenever I get those kinds of compliments and messages.
That still is a lot of pressure, though, to be on the. I mean, it is a great compliment, but at the same time, that's a lot of pressure for someone to emailing you that. I mean, you're not that beyond that yourself. Like you're only 18 years old, so
Yeah, I mean, but I think those people understand that, and I think that's why they find me just existing a comfort because I get lots of messages like, I'm like your age and it's fucking crazy to like see someone my age, doing what you're doing and that's like really inspirational. And yeah, I get that it's pressure, but then I'm not doing it for anyone else but me, honestly. So if I was just doing it to be famous or whatever, then I think it'd be pressure, to like inspire thousands and blah blah blah. That's not what I'm in it for. I'm just doing it for self-satisfaction, honestly. So uh, it doesn't really get to me most of the time.
do you know what the thing is about you is that you could so easily be like, oh, I'm just gonna go with this cutesy lead singer thing, but you're not. Like you're very like I'm fucking grouchy. I'm a badass. Like you're very like what you're the opposite of what the obvious stereotype cliche is, and I think that is what I find so cool about you is you're doing your own thing. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you're raw. Thank you. Yeah, you're very raw, and I find that vulnerability and that honesty refreshing, especially in someone your age. So I think you're a great role model. Thank you. What does a normal day look like for you? Like, what do you do? Just you wake up on a Tuesday morning. What do you do?
Right now, I would get up kind of early in the morning, like 7 or 8 a.m. because I'm jet lagged. I would eat food. No, I would watch YouTube for a while and I would eat food, drink a buttload of coffee, do some writing, and then it's the afternoon, go for a walk, talk to my friend, uh, eat food again, do some more writing, go on the internet. That's been my average day lately.
And how much are you getting a lot of the socializing online, or are you finding inspiration to writing more stuff, or is it kind of a combination of both?
It's definitely a combination of both, I think. Whenever I'm back in Japan, like I get to see, like my childhood friends and stuff, so I'm getting that, which is a very special experience for me because I don't get to do it often. But also I'm like constantly staying in touch with friends online and stuff, so definitely a good mix of both.
Now, you've lived in Japan, the US, and the UK. What are some differences, and how has each market kind of changed the trajectory of what you're working on?
Hmm. UK, I learned that the BBC has all the power. US radio still very relevant. Um, very hard territory to uh dominate, I guess. Yeah, radio's very relevant still. Understandably so, I guess. I don't know. Japan is very weird, as it was always. It's a huge market, and it's big enough that artists that are like originate in Japan can, have a career that lasts without having to go outside of Japan, which I think is a very limiting factor of the Japanese market that I really don't like. And so I see very talented like artists, just settling here, and not putting their music out into the world and like their art, which I think is a shame because I think, the world could use some more actually good Japanese work, not just fucking like stupid anime.
I was gonna say because it's just like it's so stereo. It's funny that we're even having this conversation about like the stereotypical this and that, but like you said, there's not
Hmm.
much. There's not that much in the popular Western culture, I would say, from Japan, except for sushi and anime.
Yeah, like it's cool, yeah, but like there's so much more stuff that's way cooler than all of that. So, like for me, like as much as I hate Japan, it's still a huge part of my identity. And it's so like embarrassing to whenever someone comes up to me, like a very, nerdy guy being like, "Oh my God, do you watch anime?" Like, no, that's not all we got. Like, there's way cooler things in Japan, so yeah.
God, that's such a loaded question right there because like even me saying this sounds horrible, but I would never, unless you told me you were from Japan, I would just think you were
Hmm.
American. You know what I mean? And the fact that
Yeah.
this fact that some random person's gonna assume that that's what you're into because you're
Hmm.
Japanese is bizarre.
Hmm.
It's like saying that
Yeah,
I
it
was,
is crazy.
yeah, it's so weird. It's like
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
weird thing that's been exported about what it means to be
Hmm.
Japanese. You know, it's very
Yeah,
strange.
100%.
What are you working on at the moment? You're doing a shitload of tours this summer, my dear.
Hmm. Right now I'm just like writing stuff, I guess. I don't know what it's for, to be honest, but I'm just writing, been reading, working on art. I'm just trying to do as much things as I can in different fields, basically. Trying to get a groove going before we start playing shows again so that creating art and stuff on the road, it feels like a more natural process for me because I've found it really hard to like make things on tour last year and I couldn't like find the right groove, but I think I want to fix that this year.
So you're basically trying to make it's like the proverbial like brushing your teeth is a habit you're used to. So you're trying to do the same thing then with being creative, it sounds like.
Pretty much, yeah. Like 24/7, I should be on a creative mindset. And like sometimes you're not like that, which is fine, but I just want to like, train my brain to be in that state for as long as possible.
So difficult though, you know, like I'm a writer as you know, and it's just
Hmm.
sometimes you need to just watch some RuPaul's Drag Race just to like there's a new season
Yeah,
up. You know, you just got to like
yeah.
let the mind relax a little bit. It's a lot of pressure to put on
Hmm.
yourself.
Hmm. 100%.
What surprised you the most about the realities of being in the business? Like, what were some things that you're like, oh my, I mean, some things you can say recorded. What would you say? What are a couple things?
It's honestly, um, I don't hate the industry. I hate how slow it is and disorganized it is. But this sounds kind of bad, but not really. But I realize that it's kind of like it's a game. It's all just a game. Like you can like if you do this interview and police this radio station in this territory, you're gold, my friend. Like there's certain rules to it that are very like set in stone and will pretty much guarantee you success or like playing way too many fucking shows a whole year. That one way you can get success. Like it's kind of less common in a way, but then it does require hard work. But then I think hard work for me is like, put into something that I really, really care about and being quote successful and famous and popular isn't like what I want. So even though we did a fuck ton last year, I still don't like feel like I worked hard, which is very weird. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the thing that I noticed.
I mean, one thing that you and I've talked about before that I think is really interesting is this weird, almost guilt is not the right word, but like I feel this with what I do. It's like it's work and you're having to put a lot of time and energy and you're exhausted by it, but then it's not like you're not digging ditches or like,
No.
sorting recycling. You're not doing some unappealing job. And I think that's where it gets difficult.
Yeah.
You don't want to complain like, "Oh, I'm tired" or whatever because you're on tour, you're touring the world playing music, but at the same time it does take a lot out of you,
Yeah, it is a cool job, but then I learned that it's also really unhealthy for me to be kind of like lie to myself and be like, oh, you shouldn't complain about it because you have the best job in the world. Because all your fucking friends tell you that you're living the dream or whatever. And all your fans and all the media and whatever. But like, I want like art jobs to be treated just the same as like a regular job, like a day job, because it is just work, It's there's shitty parts about it, and I think people realize that, And that sounds like oh, what a spoiled musician brat you are, whatever. But like, I don't care. Like, I had a shitty time, like being on tour, but then I also had great moments, just like anything else. So, I want to be more open about that.
And I think what you said, I mean, you've said so many things here, I think, that are so important and relevant. I mean, one thing that you said here is like this weird combination of it is a job, and yet because society says, oh, it's music, so you should be so thankful, and you are thankful, but it's a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah, like I want there to be more transparency.
Yeah, exactly. This is a strange one, but my auntie sent me a picture today, and she's in her 70s, and she just completed a 50K run, and she's like covered head to toe in mud.
Whoa.
I know. And I'm like, this is someone that's really inspiring. Like she's 70 years old and she's like doing a 50K run in horrible weather. And I'm like, it's almost like we place value. I'm not saying it's wrong that we look up to you, but it's like not. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like we appreciate the wrong things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Like I want equality, man. Like across all jobs. Maybe not, but I don't want art to be put on a pedestal, basically. And with the internet, I think it's becoming less of a big deal. But I also don't want it to be considered like, art's cheap and I can just get it wherever. I need to find a good middle ground that hopefully people can get behind.
I love that. So on that note, do you have an Instagram that people can see stuff? I know you're doing a mural. You're working on some. I think your dad is working on some T-shirts. Where can we see this stuff as it comes out? Do you have a page or a place we can follow you?
Yes, I have a Tumblr / my own website. It's orono.com with 3 O's at the end. Orono on Instagram, 5 O's at the end. But everything else just 3 O's at the end. Not really confusing, but whatever. You'll find me.
And then future plans for the summer. You're doing Coachella, I know, which I'm desperate to hear how that goes for you. Are any other tour dates that you know of the top of your head?
We're doing a full fucking US tour, playing in Maine, which is going to be cool. Yeah. Yes, we're going to be playing there like for a week
Oh my God, do you know when?
after Coachella. Well, like the in between the Coachella dates.
Oh my God, I'll have to look at that because I want my friends to go and see you desperately.
Hell yeah.
I'm so excited for you for the future, and I just think you're such a wonderful, wonderful human being. So thank you so much for being on the podcast, Big O. I really
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having me. It's cool. You are the coolest.
Oh, takes one to know one. All right, on that mutual appreciation, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you later. Take care. Bye. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this edition of Inside the Music Industry. Please don't forget to rate us, give us some stars, leave a review, share with your friends. We absolutely love it and appreciate you listening to this. Take care and catch you next time.